Hey everybody, welcome back to MattKiteboarding.com Foil Fridays. I'm Tucker, and today we're going to take a quick look at and give you my review of the Slingshot Phantasm 926 foil, also front wing. You can buy it as front wing only. So. With the 926, I kind of knew what to expect. I've ridden a lot of foils very similar to this. Obviously with Slingshot, their quality is legendary. They've been in the game a long time. They know what they're doing. They're not going to put out, something that's terrible. So, I had high expectations, and I would say they were definitely met and exceeded with this 926 Phantasm foil. I had ridden same mast and fuselage before, same stabilizer before. I knew I liked those. And then just adding this style of wing and this size was kind of the extra piece of the puzzle for me. So I had high expectations. I kind of knew what to expect. And as I mentioned, they're exceeded. So how are they exceeded? Well, I know how this was going to fly. I knew what the wind range was going to be roughly. I'd say it's slightly faster than I would have expected it to be. I would say it also glides better and pumps better than I expected. Now you can have similar shaped, similar sized foils, and a lot of times they ride very similarly. But I would say there's something magic in the foil section or the outline of this one. They're all slightly different. This one's slightly different than other ones I've ridden. But there's something about this one that's extra efficient, and that causes the extra speed as well as the extra glide and pumping ability. So I was really blown away by that. Maybe it's an incremental increase versus other things I've ridden, but I would put this definitely in my top favorite foils of all time. I'd put it head to head with something like an F1 Phantom. I'd put it head to head with something like an Axis HPS. I'd put it head to head with something like a Takuma Kajura. So this thing is definitely in the upper echelon of foil performance and quality. So really amped on that, and I do feel like you get a ton of value with this foil. Now it's not cheap, don't get me wrong, it's not a cheap foil, but you get a wing bag, that's worth 150 bucks right there. You get covers, that's worth 60 bucks on average, I guess, right there. So you already got over $200 of value just with those things that they throw in. Additionally, with the build I've mentioned, it's so solid, it's so rigid, so well built. This is something you can rely on for a long time. It's something that you can beat up a little bit, and it can take a hit. It's not something that you're really going to have to baby. There are, foil products out there that need a little bit of care and have a lifespan. I wouldn't say this is one of them. And knowing Slingshot, there'll be plenty of replacement parts, spare parts available, upgrade parts available when the need arises or you just decide you want something different. So really amped on that. Definitely something you can look to invest in and be happy with for a really long time, assuming you take care of it, of course, with general maintenance and just common sense, not kicking it down the stairs or something. So really stoked on it. Turning performance is excellent, very predictable, very high performance turning ability, especially if you've ridden wings like this before. The glide is just insane. It glides way better than any other foil of this size I've ever tried. Pumping ability is really phenomenal. I would say it doesn't have a real difficult pump. It's not finicky. You can pump it a little slower and harder. You can pump it a little faster and softer. It's not super picky about the way it's pumped like some other foils are, so that's really cool. And I think that's something it really speaks to people that are looking to progress. Maybe you're an intermediate rider right now, hoping to break that barrier to advance, and you don't want to constantly be having to change gear. This is definitely something you could look at. So what do I not like about this foil? Well, number one, I kind of mentioned this earlier, it comes mostly complete. Now it includes all the hardware you need to assemble the foil, but it doesn't include the hardware you need to connect it to the board. So that's kind of disappointing. You buy a really nice high-end foil, they include bag, they include covers, they include all this phenomenal foil gear, but it doesn't have a way to connect it to the board. So if you know that ahead of time, you can know, hey, I need to have the right bolts and T-nuts or I need to order the right bolts and T-nuts. But I think there's going to be a lot of people that are, you know, missing that and getting a little disappointed, unfortunately. If you do buy a Slingshot board, the screws will come in the board. So I don't know if that's their way of just incentivizing people to buy the complete package. I'm not sure that necessarily follows, but if you're not buying a Slingshot board along with your Slingshot foil, be sure to add some hardware. You need screws, which are M8 by 25 countersunk, and you need M8 T-nuts if you're using a track style board, which most are these days. If you're buying a foil from us here at the shop with Slingshot, mention that. We'll be happy to throw them in for free, just to make sure you have a complete foil no matter what board you're using. So yeah, that was the Slingshot Phantasm 926. This is Tucker from MattKiteboarding.com, and we'll see you next Foil Fridays.